do you wish you could go back to the 80s or 90s? That's an interesting question, especially for a lot of Gen Xers. For any of the boomers, it may be even prior to that, because for myself, compared to these times now, you know, it's like they were like magical times. It's really hard to explain to anyone, but the 80s, the movies, the music, the culture, everything, you know, it was a real time of advancement, and things just seemed to be like so much more fun than they are now. And the 90s as well was caught on the back tail of that. For me, it seemed to change in the early 2000s. Things started to seem to get a bit worse, and it's only just accelerated with everything. People don't seem as happy now. Now, there was talk, I mean, years back, where I'd hear like my father, and he was a boomer, and he'd be talking about how bad it was going to be for future generations such as myself, and that has proved to be right, really, in the respect of, like, it's my belief that, like, after the war, the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and maybe a bit into 90s as well, maybe I can include the 90s, I think that those periods have kind of been some of the best as far as for the economy, and as far as for people's happiness and that as well, because life was a lot simpler. We didn't have the internet, which the internet's a mixed blessing. You know, you can do a lot. You can certainly do a lot with it, with regards to, like, you know, some people even work online, communicating. You know, you can stream things, you can game, you can do all sorts of things. I don't even have to really go into it, but it's a caveat, you know, because it's a double-edged sword. Because the other thing is that basically it makes you not live your life more, not live in the real world, where back in the day, not everybody was glued to the mobile phones because they didn't have them. I mean, obviously, with technology now, I can do a video like this, but, you know, prior to that, it was things that you just didn't worry about because they didn't exist. And some of the tech that did exist then, it just seems so much better than some of the tech that's around today. It was properly made. A lot of things were made in Japan, and they really put into the engineering, whereas the kind of cheap knockoff stuff that you get today is just not up to the same quality. Cars just seem to have gone totally on a wild one, you know, with regards to, I mean, I'm not a fan of the whole EV thing, but we'll see what becomes of that, in all fairness. And even with other cars, with the engines, you know, you've got hybrid cars and that. I think hybrid's not so bad. But again, I mean, it's like in the 80s, it's more like cars were cars. There's a famous clip with, like, Jeremy Clarkson saying his bit about his disdain for modern cars. But yeah, it's like with myself being a child, where I was born in 76, so I grew up through the 80s. I saw the 80s as a young child, saw the 90s as like a teenage, in my teenage years. So, and they just felt like really good times. They really did. And I've seen a lot of things on TikTok where it's like, you see these people where it's like, you know, they're saying if they could open a door and go back, they would do. And I used to hear my parents say similar things about the 60s. So, you know, the 60s must have been good times for them. Otherwise, they wouldn't have said things like that. And it's weird because, I mean, even with younger generations, I have a son that's 19-year-old, and he likes to listen to, like, older music, some jazz music. He listens to some music that's even before my time. And he has some old film cameras that he uses. He's quite into photography and things like that, and some other old things. I mean, he does is a cube, a Rubik's Cube, and he's got all the speed cubes and that. So, yeah, it's kind of like, it's nice to see, and he's been into Lego and things like that. So it's been nice to see him kind of embrace some of the older things, like using things like Polaroid cameras and that, which for these younger generations, it's a bit of an experience, I guess, you know. And it's nice for me to see some of the tech that's still around, still alive, and not all gone, because it's memories. And like I've said, some of the tech is actually good as well. Do certainly miss those days. But yeah, I mean, let me know your thoughts on this. Please do comment down below. I'll read every comment that I get, because obviously it's a really small channel at the moment. But yeah, I'd like to hear your thoughts and opinions on this, because it's an interesting one. Please give the video a like if you do like it, and feel free to subscribe for more of my content if you're interested and if you like it. But apart from that, thanks for watching.